and feeling great. Om Shanti and welcome to Light of Knowledge. Our professions are a source of our livelihood. We spend about 8 to 10 hours a day pursuing our professions so that we can earn enough to sustain the ones we love. But at times, our professions become our identity, and somewhere in the chaos, we lose ourselves. How do we determine that our professions are distinct from ourselves? Let's discuss this with Sister Shreya from the Brahma Kumaris. Welcome to the show, Sister.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
The Sister, like I was saying, about 40 to 50 hours a week people spend working, doing their jobs. And at times, if they've got financial constraints, they could be juggling between, more than one job, 2 or more jobs, and spending much more time doing that. And therefore, there's a huge tendency that they feel that this is who I am, this is my identity. They could be doctors, lawyers, artists, singers. You very closely associate with your profession.
Yeah, the moment you acquire that profession, which is actually very late in the journey of life. It could be when you're 23, 25, and you definitely existed before that. But then profession is one of these roles. The moment you acquire this profession, then for many, many years in your life, you kind of identify yourself with that profession. And sometimes it becomes very, very deep. I am a singer, I am an artist, which is not the truth because my profession is to sing.
Yeah.
I may enjoy it, of course. My avocation and vocation could be same. What I do is something that I can really enjoy. But again, it's not who am I. I am separate from what I do. Human being, not human doing.
Yeah.
The moment I attach myself to what I do, then I start operating from that consciousness. And we're not human doings. Though we look like human doings today because all our focus and energy is in that direction. But we have to come back into the realization that first I am a being, then I do. Now, why this is so important? Because if I start identifying myself with the role that I'm playing, with the profession, specifically the profession, then it's it's quite possible. I feel very vulnerable and I want everybody to like what I do. For example, I remember this singer. He sings beautifully, but no matter how beautifully he sings, it is not possible that everyone will like his song. Because people have different tastes. It's not that he is not singing well. It's somebody who does not like classical. It will be very difficult for them to develop that taste for classical music. So when he would perform, and he would, sometimes he wouldn't even perform joyfully because he was waiting for that moment that once his performance will finish, then somebody will come up to him and say, what a beautiful song, you have such a wonderful voice, I was in love with your voice. And then he would feel this really good feeling, high. But he was also in that fear and couldn't at times perform joyfully, that what if somebody came and said, I didn't like it. It wasn't really nice, or it wasn't the way you sang yesterday. It wasn't how you would sing 10 years ago. And then he was in this constant fear. Because if I am a singer, and then the moment you say that you did not sing beautifully, this I feels miserable. And if you kind of, keep that distance, then you'll be like, okay, what do you think I missed? Was there the magic missing? You look for their perspective in a very, very genuine way and you think that you can actually improve. Then the all opinions, you want to take them back as feedback. They can improve your performance. They can help you grow. They can help you understand what the viewers, what the audience want. But if I get into that pain again and again, then it's not possible.
Sister, when you say that, when somebody says something to my profession, I feel offended, like I am a singer, I'm an artist. It also reminds me of a time when, you ask somebody to introduce themselves. And the first thing they say is that, I am this, I am that.
Yeah.
And it's so very closely integrated to their identity that it's almost different, it's almost difficult to keep it distinct?
The reason is when you introduce yourself with that profession, I am the singer, you think people respect me for my profession. See, that's lack of self-respect. Again, it's taking it from outside. I want to tell you my profession. The first thing, sometimes you ask them something and they'll be like, oh, this is my name and I'm so and so and I do so and so. And to an extent, they might have retired. A lot of people, if you see their visiting card, they're retired. But their designation or their profession, it's there.
Yeah, it says
Because-
X something something.
Yeah, and you want to hold on to that because you think that all your life you've been respected, you've been acknowledged because of your profession. And it's a lot of fear because I remember going for this program. This was program for retiring officials and the program was stress-free life. And I was wondering, I said, they're retiring. So they anyway is going to be stress-free because I thought all the stress came with the work. And then I went up to them, to the audience, and I asked them that you are retiring, what is the stress about? And they said the fact that we're retiring.
So they won't be having their professions as a source of their identity anymore.
Yes, they wanted to hold on to that position. They said, okay, it's not very cool to tell somebody I am retired. It's very cool to say that I'm the president and vice president, but it's not very nice feeling when you tell somebody that I am retired. So, sometime when people also introduce themselves, they will say, I'm retired, but before that I was...
Yeah.
So you want to hold on to that profession, but again, see, there's so much insecurity. If you depend your respect on what you do, then this is something that you've acquired. And everything that we acquired, we can lose it like this.
Yeah, it's temporary.
It's temporary. In a moment you can lose. Anything can happen. It's very, very something which is temporary. It can perish anytime. You can lose it anytime. So that insecurity is always there. And one fine day when you lose it, you kind of feel not very good.
And it's also important to know that actually people, when they respect you, they're respecting the chair that you sit on. And that's why when people retire, they wonder why that respect is not following them. Why did it stop? And then you realize that, everybody around you, your team member, society was respecting the chair that you sat on. And now that you have to get up and move on, that is a challenge for that person after retiring.
Yeah, and that is why even when you're sitting on that chair, you feel the fear. I remember meeting this MLA. And then he went on to become MP. So he said that I can't really imagine a time when I will not have the chair. And he said, most of the times I fear that moment when I will have to lose this chair because this gets me, this chair brings a lot of power and that power brings a lot of respect from people. But again, do you want people to respect your body, your beauty, your gender or the profession, or you really want people to respect you? When I say you, it means the being, the original identity. And when they respect you, so if I'm not respecting somebody for their profession, if I'm respecting them, then I'm only able to respect somebody who's in a very high stage of self-respect, which means they're always giving, they're always accepting, they're very cooperative, they're very compassionate. It's the energy that comes from them to me. It's very compelling. I genuinely have that kind of respect for them. It could be somebody not on a very senior position, but it could be somebody on a very simple role, just somebody serving you.
Yeah.
You are in your canteen where you work. There's somebody who serves you with a lot of love. Then you tend to develop that respect for that person,
Yeah.
It's like when they're giving you so much, you start respecting them. Of course, you don't take their role. And it's not like you start serving, you're still sitting there. But you genuinely have that respect and you feel, okay, if someday I can help him in some way, I'll be more than happy to do it.
Yeah. And actually, when you talk about respect, it also reminds me about sometimes how people are a little uncomfortable when they perform blue-collared roles, roles of probably carpenters and plumbers, electricians or manual labor. They feel not very proud of their role because there's a lot of energy that they get from others, that my role is not respected. And they feel inferior.
And you call it blue collared?
You call it blue collared roles.
Call it blue collared roles, okay. So that means different roles are called differently?
Right, and you also have white collared roles which are very superior roles. Like, for example, they could be doctors, lawyers, or maybe, it even extends to people in the corporate world.
And who defines that? What is blue collar and what's white collar?
I think society has defined that, blue and white. And all of the manual work is associated with blue collar. And the corporate or the cognitive work is associated with white collar. And therefore, you have a lot of people feeling very inferior, that, I'm just a carpenter, I'm just a plumber, and they're not very proud of their professions.
But again, like you said, it's defined by the society, and that is why you tend to see them as inferior and superior. I mean, I don't know what will happen if our maids don't come for one day. You just realize how valuable they are the day they take holiday. And even if they are 15 minutes late, you may be getting very angry all inside, but you can't say anything to them. I say this, lot of women who say, okay, tomorrow when she'll come, if she takes a holiday without telling, so they'll be like, okay, tomorrow when she comes, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this, I'm going to fire her. But actually when she comes, you're more than thankful. You're more than thankful that finally she came. So you have to kind of be so tolerant with her. There you're able to accept and accommodate. So the blue collared job, what you're saying, I don't know if it's inferior or superior, you can't do without it. So it's just like the role, you can't do without this role, you can't do without that role. And maybe because you're able to earn a little more there, and today we think that the one who earns more is maybe superior. The person who is more intelligent can earn more and is maybe more happy is superior. So you try to put them on a pedestal. And somebody who is probably putting the same amount of energy, time, their skills, but of course they're not able to earn the same, is looked down as inferior. Because the whole idea of a profession, why do we work? Now, of course, we think that if we work and get a higher position, we'll be very happy. The whole happiness thing is very closely associated with work. That if I do well, I'll be happy. But actually, that's not the purpose of work. You're supposed to play your role happily. You're not supposed to do it for happiness. You're supposed to do it happily. The purpose of your jobs is to earn a living, is to earn that bread. It's the money. And that's okay that somebody is earning a little less and somebody is earning a little more. That does not mean that you will respect somebody a little more because they're earning a little more. That's where the perception has to change. And again, if you see them as souls, see how soul consciousness changes everything? Then you are very easily able to accept people in all positions and not for their professions, but for who they are.
Because if I have to think of applying spirituality when I look at people, then I will talk with the same respect that I would talk to maybe a CEO, and I would talk with the same respect that I would talk to maybe a watchman. So there's some way I'm looking at them in a very equal perspective. So it's very empowering.
That's where you're very closely connected to yourself also and you feel good. See, otherwise in the day you're playing very different kind of behaviors. You also don't know who you are. You think I have to behave like this with this person because they are inferior, or maybe they have a role, you think I can get angry at them and I can get things done. When you can't get angry at your boss, so you think, no, if I have to get things done from him, I have to be very nice, sweet, flattery. And in between that, we're losing contact with our innate goodness. We're not tapping into our originality and behaving that way, because if we tap into our originality, our behavior in the day will not change. It will be same. So we have to define our behavior, what we want for ourselves, what are our principles. Do we want to operate from love? Then we do it with everybody. Then that becomes a habit. Do we want to do it with anger? Then you can't just do it at workplace. You can't just do it at workplace because that's becoming your inherent, that's not your inherent sanskar. But what you're doing again and again is now becoming your personality, now becoming your impression. It will come at home. So I would rather say that you have to choose. You have to choose from where to operate, your operating system. And if you choose love, everywhere.
I like what you said just now, sister. You said that, if you are uh, applying a lot of anger in your life, you will apply it everywhere.
Yeah.
At workplace, at home.
Yeah.
Likewise, if by profession you are, let's say, a vice president in a company, do you also bring that entire profession home? Do you start acting like a vice president at home?
Yeah, you don't bring it back in your briefcase, but you bring it back in your head.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of times, because you can make these principles that work at workplace and family time with family time. But if you are not, you can keep those things there, but in your head you can bring it here because you're so attached to that role and you're not able to drop it.
Yeah.
That is why if you see, even actors, I'm talking about the actors who work in a film industry, they play many, many roles. But a versatile actor is somebody who can play one role and then immediately shift to another role. In fact, they don't want to be associated with one role.
Correct, yeah.
If you associate them with one genre, it's not very good for their reputation.
Yeah.
So they say, no, I want to experiment with different roles. I don't want to lose my identity in one role. So even where it's a profession, you think that I have to be versatile. I can play many, many roles. And same thing in real life, because Shakespeare said it very beautifully that this is a stage and we are all just acting.
Actors, yeah.
So even here when we are acting, we are playing many roles in a day. So we're playing a role of a vice president there, but when we come back home, we're playing a role of a father. And then during that day, we can be a friend. Sometimes even with one person, we're playing many roles. Like even when I come back home and I'm sitting with my child, I'm just not a father. I can be a friend. I can be a guide. I can be a counselor. I can be a manager with one person. With one person, I can use my creative abilities and play many roles together. But if I get stuck with one role, identify father. So father has to be somebody who has to discipline.
Yeah.
And then you can't accept your child and be a friend. So this is a very beautiful ability of switching. And this can only happen when you understand I am an actor and I'm just playing this role. And you don't start identifying I am the role.
Because if you do, then you'll start acting like a vice president at home instead of a father and talking with authority and expecting things to get done. And it may not really work in the house.
No, it will not work even at the workplace. If you operate from authority even at workplace, people don't like to be controlled even at workplace. They like this environment which is very congenial where everybody can grow. So if they don't like that control and authority and anger at workplace, how will they like it at home?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say again is that you just have to shift the role. But how you play the role, the virtues that you choose to play that role will not change. For example, there's an actor, say Shah Rukh Khan is the actor. So whether he plays the role of a coolie, or if he plays a role of a driver, or if he plays a role of any other role, you can still see his personality in every role. Roles are changing. Even if two actors are asked to play the same roles, they will play it differently. Because when they play a role, you can see their personality coming out in their role. And that's why sometimes they say, the same script, if was given to a better actor, that movie would have been good. They sometimes say the script was very good. The actor was not very good. Only if the actor was also more efficient, then it would have been a beautiful performance. So your personality is going to come out in every role that you're playing. So it's very important how you choose that personality. Is it love? It is giving? Is it compassion? Or it's anger? Or it's, controlling? Force? Dictating? Not really asking but just telling? That will define your relationships quite a lot.
Sister, when we are working in today's corporate world, you're expected to work seamlessly, in the sense that although you're spending 8 to 10 hours at the workplace, you're also expected to go above and beyond the call of duty at times and maybe, take certain calls at home or work on a certain project even at home. So like you were saying, you end up taking a lot of the work that is otherwise to be done at the desk in the office, you end up taking it home. Sometimes it could be in your mind, like you said, not in your briefcase, you're thinking about it. And it's very difficult to switch off when you enter the door of your home and then, switch it on again when you enter the door of your office.
Yeah.
That switch off, switch on doesn't happen, and sometimes you end up maybe having a meal with your family and thinking about tomorrow's meeting. Okay, what do I need to say? How do I need to prepare?
See, the switching on and off is difficult, but you don't have to do that. You're just getting into another role, playing that role, and even if you have to take a phone call at home, I don't think it's really that, it's like there is this whole rule that you can't take a call at home. Sometimes people have to bring work at home. But if you are playing that role with a lot of anger, you're playing that role with the different qualities, then nobody wants you to bring it at home. It's like you're two different personalities. You're very different at work, and sometimes people say also, they are not like this at work. And they're very different at home. They're very different at office. I understand that you have to be assertive and stuff, but there's a huge difference where you think, okay, this is right here and this is wrong here. And that difference in personality nobody likes. If you're nice here, they want to be nice there. Because yesterday I remember somebody called me, and they called me saying, is it okay to fire somebody at the workplace? Directly. So I said, okay, you mean to say you want to ask somebody to leave their work? He's like, yeah. And I happened to say, I said, maybe you can try to tell them where they are wrong. He said, I've tried. I said, then maybe you can be a little more patient, because even if you've asked them to change that, it may not happen overnight. He said, yeah, I've asked him thrice, and every time I tell him, they say, okay, I will not do this again, but they do it again. And I said, okay, it's something that they have inherited. It's not like a switch on and off. It will take some time for them to change. You need to have a little more patience. He said, but why should I have so much patience at workplace? It's not like home. It's not like my child that I need to have that patience. And I was like, okay, he believes in the quality of being patient. He believes in this quality that over a period of time, this quality will be empowering and will bring the change. But there is somewhere the programming in his mind that I am only supposed to use this quality at home with my child, not with my subordinate, because it's affecting my profit or my time and energy. But the quality, if it's empowering at home, it is empowering at workplace. This is how you build relationships, by helping him to bring that change. And then the same person who you think is today a problem will become an asset for you.
I hope what you've shared, sister, is something that a lot of people who are watching can take home with them and can really use it in a very empowering way in their lives. Thank you for joining us on the show, sister.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
So friends, today's conversation was very insightful, primarily because it talked about one very important perspective, that you are more than your profession. Your profession is just what you do to sustain yourselves and the ones you love. You are a soul, a being of energy, and your profession is an opportunity for you to give to the world. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to reach out to us. Take care.